What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Broad Street Boys. And yes, I am sad today. I have been sad for the last week. I can tell you that with a straight face. I can't believe what I just watched this past week and a half with the Philadelphia teams. I can't believe it, and I'm here to break it all down right now. Give me a win. I need a win. Other than the Flyers winning at home, I need a win. How about that? I just need a win. And thank God the Flyers did win at home on Monday, because if that didn't happen, then we would literally not have any wins. So I'm so sick of it. Um, Whatever. All right, we'll get straight into it. I'm gonna talk about the Phillies first, and then I'm gonna go into the Eagles. I'm gonna talk a little baseline about the Phillies because Caleb and I are probably gonna do a full Red October breakdown into our off-season predictions and give like a more in-depth thoughts about the this past disappointing um, series. I mean, it was just disappointing. I'll get into the baseline stuff here, and then after that, I'll talk about the Eagles and how they're also a train wreck. And yeah, and then maybe I'll talk a little bit about the Sixers. Before I start here, I would like to say keep an eye out next week. I think around Tuesday, I'm going to post a Sixers only podcast about my predictions for them. Because I have some predictions. I'm mildly optimistic, and I don't know how to feel about it. And I feel like I felt like this for the past 3 years, and they've let me down all 3 years. So we'll talk about that next week. However, we'll start with the Phillies. Wow, that's all I got. Wow, I can't believe I've never. So my sorry, I'm literally at a loss of words because I have never felt dumb before as a fan. I've never felt dumb, if that makes any sense. I never felt in my life like, wow, why did I even believe in this team? Or like, wow, what like after a series or after at least the first two games, I was like, wow, what made me think anything would be different if it's pretty much the exact same team? That was the thought after game two, and it's kind of still my thought today because out of the four games they did nothing hitting wise in three of them. The first two were an absolute train wreck. If I'm going to be totally honest with you, that they were actually so hard to watch, especially the second one. The first one at least gave you some like I had fun in the first three innings, like when JT got that hit, and then you had a dude like Chris Sanchez absolutely dealing on the mound, absolutely dealing on the mound. So that was fun to watch up until around, of course, the seventh inning, where they just absolutely break it open. You're like, oh, Teoscar Hernandez happens, and you're like, oh, okay. And then still at that point, all my hopes were still there. So I was like, oh, this team is gonna come back. And then we had our shots, and then we didn't take any of them. And then we lose game one, which is not like the end of the world. I knew we were gonna lose one at home. Caleb and I even talked about that. You could actually go watch that on our Red October predictions. I didn't think game two would go like how it did. Game two, that was one of the hardest games to watch for me as a fan. I don't really know why. Maybe it's because I'm pretty busy here at school, so maybe it was just a culmination of everything. I don't know if it was just a me thing, but game two sucked. Like I think it's because I felt really bad for Jesus Luzardo because Jesus Luzardo absolutely shoved in game two, like absolutely tore it up. I've never seen him pitch that well before. And I actually don't even blame Rob Thompson for leaving him out there in the seventh inning. Um, but yeah, I mean, he just pitched so well, and I honestly think I just felt bad when they pulled him in the sixth inning, I think, or the seventh inning. I honestly just think I felt bad, and I was like, wow, we couldn't give you any help, like any help. So I think that was what was frustrating me so much. So I think that's where I'm at, and Blake Snell is so good. Before I say this, Blake Snell is so good. It's time for that dude to win a ring because he is genuinely amazing. But at the same time, uh, we couldn't do anything, like actually anything, and that was actually so hard to watch. And I was so on edge the entire time because I was like, we need to win this game to even have a chance at the series. And then we lose, and then that was like my breaking point. Because I literally saw the same game. I think what is it? Game 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, that many times in a row from the same team that consistently pitched pretty well and then couldn't hit at all. That's what I saw. And I think that was just my breaking point. I was like, wow, I'm just this team sucks. The game ended what around 9. I 8:45. I actually just went to bed then. I just literally put myself in my bed and I was like, I need to just decompress myself because that was awful. That was my overall thought about that game. And then game 3, actually, sorry, one more thing about game 2. Game 2 was actually when I was like, I feel stupid for believing this team. Like, why would I ever do that? Like what has given me that hope that because they haven't hit in the playoffs in game 6, 7, and the entire Mets series pretty much, other than game 2, what makes me think the bats are going to come alive? And I've never felt dumb before. And then game 3 happened, and I kind of approached game 3 and game 4 until like extra innings in game 4. I'll get to that. Game 3 and game 4 in a different manner. I was kind of just like, they're probably going to lose, so I'm just going to be happy that I'm watching my team. And then that worked, obviously, because we won, 8-2? Really should have been 8-1. If Taiwan Walker didn't touch a baseball. But that's just how I felt about that game. It went off. It's finally time for Schwarber to go off after last year and then game 6 and game 7. It's time. I'm sick of hearing how great he is in the playoffs and then he does nothing. I'm sick of it. I'm sick. But yeah, game 3 was great. I enjoyed every minute. I thought I thought it was dumb to pitch Aaron Nola. Thought it was dumb in the first 2 innings, and then put Ranger in, and it seemed to be dumb after Tommy Edman took Ranger yard, pitch 1. But then that ended up working really well. And then all of a sudden the bats come alive, and we can't stop hitting. It's great. It was fun to watch. And then game 4. Oh, game 4. Game 4 wasn't even. I don't know how to even describe game 4. You actually kept waiting for a game 3 type of moment from game 4, and then each like almost every inning, or even a lot of the innings at least, they would either get a hit or at least like walk and be like, oh my god, they just stole a base, yay. And you're like, okay, this is the inning, this is the game 3 inning, and then nothing would happen. We went up 1-0, and then Duran walks in the guy, which I don't even blame Duran, and I don't know how you could blame the pitchers at all this entire series. Maybe other than Matt Strahm after he let up the home run to Teoscar, but like not, you can't. Kerkering, obviously, I'll get to that. You could definitely blame Kerkering for a lot. I think, give me a second. But I thought our starters were so good. All of them. All 4 of them. In like 5 of them. 4 of them. So that's just how I felt. Like, it's just an interesting reality that we live in. And the fact that we couldn't have Zach Wheeler for game 1 and then have Chris Sanchez for 2 and then probably Jesus Luzardo for 3 and then 4 is a toss-up, probably Ranger, and then you have Zach Wheeler for 5. I think that really hurt the Phillies in the biggest way possible. Let's just be honest here. Obviously, the bats did not hit in any games other than game 3, but at the same time, having that, I don't know. I think assurance is the right word. Having that assurance, I think, would be huge for that team. And I feel like at the plate, the Phillies offensively were just pressing way too much. They kept trying to make either Citizens Bank Park pop or like, do something. And game 3 gave us that. Game 4 did not. But let me keep going with game 4. Game 4, and then Duran walks in the guy 1-1, and we go all the way to what, 13th inning, 12th inning, I think. And yeah, the funny thing is, was I upset at Kerkering? Absolutely. And I'm still kind of annoyed, yes. But like, it's really not all his fault. That, and by the way, that is one of the worst feelings as a sports player ever, that it's obviously not your fault that you lost the game, but personally you're going to feel like it's your fault that you lost the game. I think Kerkering had way more issues than just that one play that ended the series, and I honestly feel bad for him. Before I say this, I know he's 24, and I know 24 is definitely young, especially for a bullpen guy. Like, he's still kind of learning. But Kerkering, if you think about it, was in the mix for a lot of our issues this entire series. Like game 1, you have Kerkering come in, he lets up 2 runs. It's what, 5-3. Teoscar comes up, Shohei comes up, or somebody comes up, and you got to put in Strom, and then that happens. Game 2, well, it's very doable right now. At that point, I think it was 2-1, and then they put Kerkering in it, and then the Will Smith hit happens. Great. Game 3, nothing really happened. Game 4, obviously this happened, and he pretty much not lost us the game, but it didn't help. So he's an issue, and the fact that Rob still trusts him as much as he does is an issue. I feel like next year he like similar to the beginning of this year. I think Kirk Ring needs to earn back some trust from Rob and have Rob not be like, yeah, Kirk Ring's our guy like this. He's gonna be our seventh, eighth guy. But I need Kirk Ring to win back the trust. And that's a must for at least for me. I feel like he shouldn't be the first guy to the pen after Duran, especially if he's going against the left. Um, but yeah, so again, not all Kirk Ring's fault, but it definitely didn't help. Last thing I'll say about the bats is I'm just like I don't know how to feel because it's sadly the top three, and the top three are probably the most beloved players on this team. With Turner 1, Schwarber 2, Harper 3. Whenever they literally this series, if it didn't tell Dave to do something, I don't know what is. Especially because they need help, and every game that they did not produce more than 3 hits, we lost. Like it's just that simple, and the same thing happened last year. So I don't know what else he wants to see to go all in on getting bats. I don't know. Now again, Caleb and I are going to talk about our predictions or what we want to happen at least in the off season. On I think I probably won't be next week, but it'll be the week after when the Eagles have their bye week. We'll dive deep into that, to what we think should happen, our reactions like collectively. We'll talk about it. But I'm sorry, like you need to get a bat. And I'm sorry, Trey Turner, you need to play better in the postseason. And I'm sorry, Bryce Harper, you need to do it. I'm really starting to get irritated when I'm like, oh yeah, here comes playoff Harper, and then he doesn't produce. And I'm saying this from a fan's perspective, and I know he feels that the exact same way. Like I think he's pressing so much because he knows who he is and who he was at least. And I still think he's got it in the tank. He actually showed us this season, that he still has that crazy MVP power, you know, all of the above. But at the same time, I need to see it in the playoffs again. And I'm really sick of just saying, oh yeah, here comes Harper, he's gonna drive on this run, and then he does. Obviously, he had that moment in Game 2 where it was bases loaded, 1 out, he comes up, strikes out, and then we don't get any runs that inning. That was the inning that did it for me. I don't know about all of you. Obviously, the Kirk Ring inning didn't help in Game 4. But I will say with a straight face that once Harper struck out, and what was it, the 8th inning, with the bases loaded, I knew we were cooked from then. Or what was the 7th inning? I knew we were cooked. Yeah, because obviously he wasn't live, and that's okay. It's really not okay. But one thing I will say is that this is the last thing I'll say about the Phils for now. So I can keep content for the Red October one. But I don't understand Dave Dombrowski dragging his player in a press conference and saying that he doesn't know if he'll come back to his form. That doesn't make any sense to me, if I'm going to be totally real with you. Yeah, it just doesn't. I don't get it. It's like you're trying to piss off one of your best players and probably the most beloved player in all of Philadelphia. I don't get that. Even if it's true, even if he believes it is true, why would you say that in such a public setting? I just don't understand that. And I get that he's probably trying to be like, okay, the fans want me to be real, and we do want you to be real, but don't speculate. Just tell us facts, and the facts are showing that yes, Harper had a down year, but a down year doesn't define you, in my opinion, at least. And let's be honest, Harper in the Mets series last year was not the issue. It was actually everybody else other than him and Nick Castellanos. It was everybody else that was the issue. So don't tell me with a straight face that after one bad year from a dude that is obviously getting older that he's regressing. Don't tell me that. I need to see 2 or 3 bad years before you tell me that. Thank you. That's my soliloquy. You're welcome. Okay, give me a second. All right. Last thing, not last at all, actually. I'm going to talk about the freaking Eagles. I haven't talked to the Eagles in, 2 or 3 weeks? I'm sick of, oh my God. The Eagles that night on that Thursday. We all know what Thursday I'm talking about, by the way. Don't look at me and be like, oh, what Thursday? You know what Thursday, the Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, 0-3. How does that even happen? The Phillies, I get. The Eagles lost to the Giants. It's the Giants. You lost to Jackson Dart, who John Gruden openly doesn't like. Like, how do you do that? And the Flyers are fine; they play the Panthers, but it's just stuff like that that really bother me, and I don't even know how to react. Like, I was so numb after the Eagles on when was that, Thursday? So I was so numb. I didn't even know how to respond, if I'm going to be totally real. Yeah, crazy. Now the Eagles have a lot of issues going on. They have an AJ Brown issue, obviously. They have a communication issue. I think they might be starting to have an ego issue, which is not good. This defense is now injury riddled. I mean, we have things to talk about. I'm going to take it one thing at a time and try to go defense first, because the defense is one of the things that I even said it in the first, 2 or 3 weeks, that we were like, wow, this defense is awesome, even though we thought that the offense would be leading the team. And we were like, oh, the defense is great, whatever. And then all of a sudden, this happens. Wow. You give up 34 points to Jackson Dart. The entire defense, the defense is hurt. Jalen Carter, even people are saying that Jalen Carter has either like he's not playing as well, he's not being as down. I think he's hurt and he was playing through an injury. He's coming back this week. He even said it in a press conference I saw via John Clark, I think. So obviously he's coming back, but at the same time, I'm so sick of waiting for like a Jalen Carter saga that never comes. I mean, obviously, if Jalen Carter was in on that Giants team, it would be totally different. And I'll give my prediction for the Eagles game at the end of this as well, and it might actually surprise you. But yeah, I just this defense is weird. It's weird, and now Quinion is hurt. I don't know if he's officially out for the game or not. I don't think he is. But obviously, Keely Ringo can't play, and I thought Jacorian Bennett was going to be good because of all of his stats from the Raiders, and he is not that good. I think this says either it says a lot or it says something else. Or it says nothing. I don't know. But I want to know everyone's opinions on the Zadarius Smith not even mid-season, early season retirement after 3 games with us, 3 or 4 games with us. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you? That makes no sense. Why would you come out? You were a free agent, so obviously you were still looking for a job, and even you said that you were still looking for a job. This is your thing. You wait until the end, and then retire this week. That's a little weird. I feel like trying to think of the right words to say, but I feel like Zadarius Smith almost came here thinking oh, everything was fine. This is great locker room, great guys, and then was like, oh wow, there's issues that he doesn't really want to get involved with. And I don't blame him for retire. I don't care. Or I do care, because now we're down a edge, and already we are out of Nolan Smith, and Nolan Smith's hurt. So it's little things like that where I'm just like, why? What is happening? I'm gonna really try not to compare this team to 2023, because that's not fair yet. It's only week 6. So I'm not comparing them to that team yet. I'm not ready. But at the same time, I will say it's trending that way. It's definitely trending that way, where our expectations are like, oh, they should win every single game, and then they lose every single game after 2 weeks. That's how I feel after 2 weeks, if I'm going to be totally honest with you. In a Broncos game where we were up 17-3, let them come all the way back to that game wasn't even the issue. It was honestly the Giants game that I was like, it's the Giants. Yes, in division. Yes, the Giants sometimes have our number. But in 2023, we did also lose to the Giants in MetLife. That's all I'm saying. I don't, again, not making comparisons, but it doesn't look good. It's just little things like that where I'm just like, okay, this is a little odd. Yeah, so that's it with the defense. I do think Howie is. There's already been reports that he's looking for a dude like Trey Hendrickson, or another edge rusher like that. Maybe not up to the Hendrickson caliber, but I know Howie. I even just saw a Brandon Graham clip that said it perfectly. Howie Roseman's a wizard. I believe Howie Roseman will make the right decision, because what has convinced me to not believe in Howie Roseman in these past 3 years. But at the same time, he has to if this team wants to be successful this year. Yeah, so that's the defense and whatever. Now the offense. The offense is confusing. It's been a while since I've been like, is it the coordinator, or is it the quarterback, or is it even the wide receivers? I have no idea. I think it's a mixture of everybody. Because I did literally just see a chart between I think it was like George Pickens' like routes versus Devontae Smith routes, and oh my God, how different they are. And obviously, like they're two different players. But when all I see from Devontae Smith are streaks and little crossing routes, that's an issue. Or even deep crossing routes, that's an issue compared to a dude like George Pickens putting his foot in the ground and doing, just out routes, everything, a post, corner route, everything. That's an issue. You have dudes like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith running streaks and slants, and that's all you're having. That's a coaching issue, obviously. Um, and I'm not saying it's all on Patullo because Jalen Hurts has also not played well. If you look at his tape and his replays, he's missing open guys. He's missing. There is literally so much out there that you're like, wow, Jalen Hurts missed this. Jalen Hurts missed this. And as a Jalen Hurts guy, you can't argue with any of it. If I'm going to be honest, you can't argue with any of it. And yes, maybe he's even predetermining too many things or thinking too much while and not let it loose. Sure, I could believe that. But at the same time, you need to let it loose and let the game come to you. I feel like, for example, we're driving down the field. We need to score a touchdown. I think it was, I forget what the score was, but he predetermines an out route to Devontae Smith, or no, Jahan Dotson. And he predetermines it, throws to Jahan Dotson, picked off, almost pick six. While AJ Brown is wide open in the middle of the field, your best player on your team, other than Saquon Barkley. I think it's stuff like that where he's just like totally predetermining and not letting the game come to him. I think that's what he needs to work on, honestly. So that's definitely an observation I've had. Another issue is I don't know how to. I feel like I've definitely said this in past episodes, like before they started losing games, that the runs with Saquon have not been creative, and the offensive line has been awful. And now with Lane and Dickerson banged up, now you have to play Fred Johnson, who I actually like, and then a mixture of Brett Toth at guard and others. That's an issue. Saquon, I think somebody said on the radio, I think he's getting hit in the backfield at the highest rate of anybody, which obviously doesn't set your running back up for success, especially a running back like Saquon Barkley. In my opinion, the best running back in the entire league. I don't care. Yeah, so it's I don't know if it's a mixture of the play design or if the players just aren't playing well, which very well could be a thing, or it's the last aspect that I mentioned with the ego. I heard someone say this on the radio, and I totally believe it. I feel like I've lost a sense of urgency with this team, or at least when I'm watching. Obviously, the practices could be different, but the urgency isn't there anymore. I don't know if that's just a me thing, but like no one's really getting pissed after a failed drive, or I just don't feel the urgency at all, and I feel like they're just like, oh yeah, like we're just hopefully we score. That was not the thing last year. Last year, our mantra or our idea was to put people into the ground and then to kill them. Like that was the goal. This year it's just not like that, and I don't know why. I don't know if Nick Sirianni has lost that dog mentality thing. I don't know if it's a difference of mentality, but I don't know. Like I feel a different vibe around this team, even in the press conferences, and the interviews and all of that. I just feel a different vibe, and I can't say I'm liking it, which is not great. But that's okay, I guess. We're Super Bowl champions again, I guess. It just set up for one of the worst Philadelphia sports days I've ever experienced in my entire life. It was a mixture of sad with the Phillies, angry with the Eagles, and then okay with the Flyers losing to the Panthers. So that's how I feel. Now, with that being said, I'm happy the Flyers won the other day. They actually have a game tonight. I'm recording this on Thursday night, so they actually have a game tonight. So hopefully they win. Yeah, and then I think so. The last thing I'll do is give my idea for how I think the game is going to go on Sunday. I'm going to be honest with you. I think we're winning this game. You could argue with the wall. I don't care. I do think we're going to beat the Vikings. Now it's reports that Carson Wentz is going to play. I feel like how am I going to say this? I feel like whatever Vikings quarterback plays, they're going to play a very similar way. Not that I don't like JJ McCarthy, but I will tell you, like, I think he's good, but I'm not a big fan of JJ McCarthy. I'll be the first one to tell you that. I do think Jalen Hurts is better than JJ McCarthy, obviously. So I do think we're gonna win there. I do think it's gonna be super close, and I do think that I'm already people are saying that we're gonna lose. But I think this is the week that they finally get it back. I think they finally start throwing the ball. I would hope. And again, this Viking defense is so tough, but I feel like this is one of the games that the Eagles probably should lose, but they're gonna win, and it's going to annoy all of us because we're gonna be like, wow, you just lost to the Giants, and you're up 17-3 against the Broncos, and now here we are, and you're beating one of the best defenses in the entire league and Justin Jefferson. Like that is it's just so Eagles to me. That's the only thing that I like to say about that. Like it's just very Eagles. But yeah, I definitely feel a win on Sunday in like a weird way, and we'll see if that happens. I hope so. Yes, that defense is nuts, but I feel like this is the week. This is the week. I feel like Fangio can mess with whatever quarterback this week specifically. Hopefully Quinion Mitchell plays. I know Jalen Carter's going to play. So I feel like if we have those two guys back, then I feel like it's a totally different game than the Giants game. Obviously, it's your two best players on defense. But yeah, so I definitely feel a win on Sunday. I'm excited to watch it. I guess. So we'll see. That's all I have today. I needed this. This was like getting stuff off my shoulders because being in Virginia, like everyone thinks you have it so nice being from Philadelphia because all your teams are good, but then all of a sudden this past week you have one of the worst sports weeks ever, and no one understands. So this is nice. So thank you all so much for listening to me today. Again, like I said before, doing a Sixers episode early next week because I have fall break and I want to enjoy that. But definitely doing a Sixers episode about the game on Wednesday should be good. I hope I'll give you my analysis on that. Then the next week, Eagles bye week, so we're just gonna do a Red October, either rundown and then into the off season predictions. So that should be great. So keep an eye out for all of that. Keep an eye out as well on all of our socials, Instagram, TikTok. Keep tabs on us because we'll hopefully be active. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching today. I'll catch you. Sorry. Wow. I'll catch you in the next one. And peace. Go Birds. Go Birds.